Bonjour and welcome to all of you comic book geeks, readers and collectors to a little bit of a special edition. If you are a sexy subscriber, you know by the thumbnail what this is about. And it's like a bit of it's half and half of an apology to Peach Momoko / explanation and exploration. Do you know what I've done there? Of the Ultimate X-Men by the aforementioned Japanese creator, who, if you haven't been here before, let me explain, who I really love, enjoy their work, beautiful, just absolutely stunning artwork. It's right up my street, where it's very stylistic, heavy on the style and unique. I'm up for all of that. In my comic books, that is what I love. But I was in a conundrum when Ultimate X-Men come out, because I was introduced to her artwork with a Demon Days. And I think she followed it up with Demon Nights? Or was it Afternoons? Perhaps that's going to be the last one in the trilogy. I don't know. I think I was first introduced to her artwork just before that with covers. And you just see the artwork jump out off the page, like that unique style. You can't, it is undeniably hers, and that is it. She owns it, and brilliant. But it was anger out of frustration, because obviously I pick up Ultimate X-Men, and by issue 8, well, I've skipped issue 9, I still haven't got it in my stack. I still haven't got it in the stack. And when you go into the marketplace, let me know if any of you sexy subscribers know where I can get an issue 9, because it seems like, unless I post off to America and pay 25 quid for it, I don't know, it's disappeared. So by 8 issues in, I was really getting frustrated, because nothing was happening. So I skipped issue 9. Issue 10 come along. I'm finding myself picking it up off the shelf again. I can't resist her artwork, and I need to have it. And what I decided to do was wait for 20 issues and read them all in one go. So that is what I've done. And after my little scroll, I'm going to explain to you what a beautiful vision it is. Is it X-Men? Nah. Marvel have obviously got they've got an exclusive agreement, haven't they, with Peach Momoko? So they're obviously desperate, and she is obviously creatively desperate. Is it X-Men? Of course it isn't. They've dressed it up as that, and when you read it, like I have yesterday and today, so say about 10 issues a shot in one go. Yes, my synapses are fried. When you view it as not an X-Men story, you're off and running with this one. When you're, not that I'm the biggest X-Men fan in the world, but when you just sit back and relax and don't look for the connections, which we're all doing with the Ultimate line. Oh my God, this is the new Black Panther. And oh my God, this is the new Captain America. All of that. And it's all going to be over and done with in a few months' time. It's all going to be, the end game again, isn't it? So it's all going to be done and dusted and gone. This one will stand the test of time. Don't know how many more issues we've got, but it will stand the test of time. And after my little scroll, if you're up for that, I'm going to gush. I'm going to praise it. I'm going to give you a couple of little pitfalls, but other than that, I'm not saying it's the most perfect thing in the world that you've all got to run out and rush and get. No. But I am saying I'm glad that I relaxed a bit for my rant after issue 8, and trusted Momoko to deliver. So please join me if you are up for a little bit of that. Welcome back and thank you for joining me. Let's start with issue 1. Like I say, this isn't going to be an issue by issue review. It's going to be an overview of where we are with this story. So, do you know what? No, I'm not going to start with issue 1. What I'm going to say, this story is best read, as I kind of alluded to in the introduction, it is best read in a collected format edition. I've noticed that Marvel have released the first 4 issues in a volume 1. I don't know why. I don't know how issue 4 ends up, because what I will say is, what I'm loving about having read all these in one continuous, or 2 tranches, it's a good word, isn't it? But let's just say that I've read this, in one go, for argument's sake, which I more or less have within the space of less than 24 hours. I've read all 21 issues, all in one go. Loved it. Yes, like I said, my synapses are fried, because Momoko is a unique talent with a singular vision, and that is all the things that I love in my comic book creators. When you see one name, and the more they've done, the more you think, oh, there's going to be madness there. There's going to be that creative madness. One criticism you could hurl Marvel's way, not Momoko's way, Marvel's way, is that with a little bit more considered, experienced editorial insight, Momoko's vision could have been crafted into a more coherent and cohesive superhero narrative. But that's like neutering her kind of stream of consciousness that she has, and she has literally exposed with these comics. And that's why I say I'm gonna start gushing. But where I was tripping up with the monthly comic format, her story and her visions clearly aren't designed for this format. They're more like something to be viewed like she did a Star Wars comic, and that was great. Just a one shot done. Visions, it was called. That's where I got the Visions thing from. See what I mean? See how this all comes together so professionally. So her weirdness, whatever you want, her quirkiness, her creativity, is contained in that one story, beginning, middle, end. Done. We've obviously got a beginning, middle, end. I can see that within this. But it doesn't make it good reading monthly. The example, I'm only going to give one example. I'm not going to go through all 21 issues, like I say. So when I was rereading issues 1 and 2, issue 2 starts off with a flashback in the school. So basically, we've got a group of teenage girls, and that is a theme with Momoko's work. That is how she likes to. She goes for the female side. So what we've got here is a load of the X-Men characters in the normal comic world that are kind of being subverted into female characters, but we're in the Ultimate Universe. So that's all by the by. All that wasn't what was bothering me. It was by, like I say, by issue 8, I was thinking, there's nothing going on here. Nothing's happened. When you read them consecutively, you can see what's going on. The flashbacks make sense. But when you've waited a month between issue 1 and 2, and you've got the setup in issue 1 with the basic story that it all revolves around is one girl, the good guy, and one guy who's the bad guy, who is the ghostly vision, the oily kind of. If you've seen any imagery from this story and you haven't read this at all, by the way, I do recommend it. Forget it's X-Men. Forget it's X-Men on the cover. Forget it's superheroes, because do you know what it's not? It's almost like, you remember the film Carrie, where the girl is coming into her womanhood and etc. etc. I'm not going to explain it, you're not here for that. But that is the shtick that has been, that awakening in teenage, well, with the original X-Men, that awakening in like male and female teenagers is what was the drive for the mutants. When you come to a certain age, the hormones are raging, and Stan Lee took it to other places, didn't he, with Jack Kirby? Eesh, we've got the X-Men, a beautiful thing. Momoko's Ultimate X-Men is a beautiful thing, but it could be over there. It doesn't have to be X-Men. This is a group of girls in middle school, and as they call it here, and high school. And something bad happens between our main protagonist in this story, Hisako. And they're all burgeoning, everything's fizzing under the surface with all these girls. There's about half a dozen of them, all these different characters. Some are funny, some are grim, some are intense. She goes through the whole gamut of emotions with all these characters. But the flashback at the beginning of issue 2 is jarring. After you've read the setup in issue 1, which is only one character, let's just give you a little bit rather than keep looking at my face. So in issue 1, and this is it Armour? See, this is where you get frustrated as well, because you think, I felt as if I need to understand what Marvel characters they were. So in issue 2, here's Storm. In here, she's called May Storm, but she's got the same powers. And we're going to get to know Cyclops and Surge and Psylocke and all the rest of it. But do you know what? I would have preferred if they just called this. I know that Momoko wanted to call Demon Days part of a Momoko verse. I just wish this was part of it. It may be. But I think the dressing it up in the X-Men mythos, and I know that's what all the Ultimate thing is. I don't know. I think it does it a disservice. And like I say, so reading that chapter in chapters rather than issues, bearing in 4 weeks in between each chapter. What book would you put down? And I know we've all got to put a book down. But what book would you put down and wait a month and read the next chapter? Oh, that's good. But what happened in chapter 1? It's got to be really powerful stuff, hasn't it? There's little bits and pieces. Obviously, we read pages and pages, don't we, and put it down. But we get to a point. I don't know what point that is. Now, Marvel obviously believes that issue 4 is the point, because they've released it as a trade paperback. I've got 21 issues of a continuous storyline of character development, bringing in new characters, bringing in the villain of the piece. The villain of the piece is Viper, whose machinations behind the scenes is coordinating the character called the Maester. And the Maester is the leader of the Brotherhood. Well, I was going to say Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants, which it is in my comic brain. But they're called the Children of the Atom in this. But that could be any cult. Momoko is weaving a tale of these girls at a certain age being tugged in different directions. There's 2 characters here whose parents are in the cult of the Children of the Atom. And they are being... And it's dark. The Children of the Atom, the Maester, is experimenting on the blood of the children to kind of create the ultimate mutant. It is Cyclops character. I did have to make notes because it's like a Wagamama's menu of names, and that's on me. That's not on Momoko. That's on me and my ignorance. The names, and that's another thing. Monthly, when you're trying to keep up with Natsu and Mori, which are the two daughters of the parents that are in the children of the atom, when you're exposed to all these names, like Viper, how easily did I just drop Viper and Maester? Oh yeah, they're proper Western, aren't they? But when you get into the other names, it's like, oh my god. But that's on me. That's not on her creativity. So I don't know what character I was banging on about then. But it all boils down to an incident at school. A shunned boy, and they're all over Hisako, like I say, our main protagonist. It all revolves around her and what happened to her at school, at middle school, involving two boys. One boy who was after her, and she kind of wasn't horrible to him, but kind of was, and she gets found out. This is how dark it gets. He commits suicide, and there's another kind of loner figure that is also kind of in love with Hisako. And this is all going on, and it's all far more interesting than superheroics. The burgeoning powers, yeah, that's great, and the cult figures, and the mum and dad at the cult, and the parents trying to get the kids to, submit to the experimentation. This is dark stuff. When that was where I was at, where the Cyclops character, she actually kills her mum. The red ray comes out of only one of her eyes. She wears an eye patch for the first few issues where she's introduced. So this is Hisako, our main, what is it, Armour, the main character. Here's our new Psylocke, whose name escapes me, like it's Kikano, I think it is, something like that. But when you're reading it continuously, here they are. Look, here's our girls, and I love the fact that, and the more it goes on, and the more it goes on, the more you fall in love with all these characters and all their quirks, and there's betrayal, and there's, like I say, there's darkness. So she kills her mum. The way that Momoko illustrates it with the red ray coming through the door, it literally goes straight through her mum's head outside her bedroom door. And then because she can't control it and she's trying to hold her eye, there's just one panel where her mum's laying in the corridor outside her bedroom, and she's got like 4 like round holes in her back. It's some dark stuff. It is some dark stuff, and like I say, you've got the cults, and it's so far removed from the X-Men. It's a beautiful thing, really. So yeah, approaching this, if you haven't approached it, forget the X-Men title. It is a beautiful story of an awakening amongst this group of girls and their friends and rotters. So it's all the good versus evil stuff. I don't know when it's going to finish, but it will make a beautiful, just one of those big whatever omnibuses. That's the word. It will make a beautiful omnibus, because I suppose this is going to go. Well, it's 21 already. It's going to end soon. Say 24, 25. Yeah, stunning, beautiful. I mean, it's also removed from reality, to be fair. But I mean, you can just see her Momoko's ability from, and here we go. This is where we're getting the sides. If you are interested in the X-Men stuff, yeah, the Children of the Atom is the Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants, and the X-Men have to form. The girls are forming, or most of the girls. Yeah, that's where the intrigue comes in. Most of the characters we're introduced to. You've got, look at this wonderful stuff. Look, you've got a new character that is an online investigator investigating the cult of the Children of the Atom and all of the rest of it, and the experiments behind the scene. There's a scene, just to give you, I mean, all right, it's a tiny, tiny spoiler. I'm trying to keep this spoiler light. But there's a tiny scene where the Maester, who is I don't know, yeah, he's kind of like Magneto, but not on steroids as in strength, but Magneto times 10 in evilness. And he's the one who's in control, or he's the one who's working for Viper, for this My X serum, whatever you want to call it, drug. What would you call it other than that? You get what I mean. So Viper is in control, and he's working for her. And there's a scene where one of the two kind of the daughters of the parents that are in the children. This is what I mean about it. Isn't it all convoluted? Are you feeling it? Are you feeling it? And imagine waiting a month in between all of this stuff, introducing a new character and then waiting, and then that goes there and that goes there. So this is what I mean about my overall. It's a beautiful thing when read concurrently. Monthly is no good. Is no good. Even though I'm up to issue 21, I'm probably going to get the next few issues right to the end and just read the end. Read it to the end, because I'm up to date. I know where I am. Know where I am with the characters. That's literally what I'm getting at. And it is done in a nicely progressive way. You know, you're introduced to individual characters, then the team forms, and then you're introduced to the bad guys and the bad girls. Or, I say bad guys, there isn't any in it apart from the Maester. Well, and the main bad guy. Other than that, yeah, there is one bad girl who's also awesome, Noriko. Yeah, it's just handled great. Look at when I say it's dark, you can't tell me, really, in reality, that's an X-Men book. That's Marvel, a superhero. It's not, is it? It is a beautiful thing, but it is X-Men. It is not. Wonderful stuff. Here's our new Psylocke. These are the girls, and it is great. It is great stuff. I love reading it this way. I loved every minute of it. And up to about now, issue 16, particularly issue 17. Look at old May Storm is this character, inspired by Storm. Momoko's style changes. It gets brighter. Somehow, the muted tones of her watercolours up to issue 16. In issue 17, somehow just they're bright as anything. And I noticed that, obviously, reading them concurrently. So I don't know what happened there. It's nothing to do with the storyline, because it's all continuing in a flow, which also I love. How Marvel are packaging this, I don't know. They must be scratching their heads up in the editorial department thinking, how are we going to do this? How are we going to sell this in, I realised, £18 for the volume 1, for the first 4 issues. Really? Come on, Marvel. That was beside the point. Let me get back on track. Yeah, so like I say, it's dark, it's ongoing, it's a singular vision, a stream of consciousness about this young girl's awakening. Like, here's our girls again, and each one has got their own characteristics and their own thing to bring to the story. And this character right here, Imori, her name is. That's what I'm back on track now. I remember what I was. See how I recovered. See how I recovered. Professional. That's my middle name. So Mori, she gets her arm ripped off because they go to rescue their mate from the Children of the Atom cult, which is the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and they're not. They're the X-Men. So they go to rescue their mate. She gets suddenly. This just happens like that. Up until this point, her and her mate Natsu, they're just girls, you know, that might have abilities, that might not. We don't know. Her arm gets ripped off, and you're thinking, what? And again, that's dark. I think anyway. And the maester, who's just ripped her arm off, you see, and they run away. And good old Maury, she's saying to her mates, no, I'll be all right, I'll grow back. And you're thinking, ah. But again, that's the link to the X-Men, isn't it? I know. But what the maester does is, he's the one who's pulled her arm off. He sucks the end of... He's just been attacked by Cyclops and had holes punctured through him so the girls can escape. So he's laying there, he's pulled her arm off. He sucks on her arm, on the stump of her arm, to get the regenerative, is that a word, regenerative? Let me know in the comments. He's sucking on the end of her arm to get the regeneration, and you see the holes disappearing. The hole, his body where it's been punctured by the red ray. And I thought, oh wow. Yes. Is this X-Men done right? I know there are the dark tales of Wolverine and all that now, and there's more adult versions and all that. But Momoko has come out with this, and she's gone bang. She's gone bosh. So yeah, overall, I loved it. Look, and here she is. Look, in the next issue, look, bless her. Maury's recovering. She's got all in bandages. She's saying to the girls, yeah, it takes time. But what this pulling off her arm does is it brings back all her memories. There's a lot of dreamlike quality to this story. There's a lot of we're in the astral plane between Isako, forgive me, he is Isako, and the Shadow King, who is the main villain. I should have mentioned that a long while ago, shouldn't I? Shadow King is the boy that wanted her attention right back in middle school. Not his real name. His real name is Tsubasa. No, Tsubasa is the boyfriend that fancied. Do you see what I mean about the Wagamama's effect? I'll have to put that in the thumbnail somewhere, won't I? His name was... I'm sorry, and I know this is me. I know it's not... Oh, it's me. No, I'm going to call him Shadow King, and I did write it down. Kageyama. Yeah, Kageyama, I'm sure that's his name. Doesn't matter, does it? He's the bad guy called Shadow King, and he's the one that's got this black ooze all over the shop, and who thinks might be, might not be the ultimate X-Men. You know, the prodigal son, the original, the OG, as you youngsters like to say. Anyway, that is about that, for explaining where we're at with the ultimate X-Men. That's the latest issue I've got. I don't know why Momoko, I think she's got a fascination for motorbikes. They're not in it a lot. Actually, look, here's the third one that I just showed you. So there's 3 issues of motorbikes there. So she must, I think she's into her motorbikes. But what I will say is I am really, and I am glad, because I love her art so much. But don't you think, I was disappointed when the comic wasn't working for me monthly. And that's why I ended up, if you are a sexy subscriber and you follow me, I think someone mentioned it on Threads, and they said, I thought you dropped Ultimate X-Men. I went, oh, it's the fear of missing out. I'm glad I had that fear, because it has all come together very, very nicely when read like that. You know, 5 or 6 chapters at a time. At least when you buy that first overpriced volume of the first 4 issues. How they end it, I don't know. But I'm not here to sell you that. I'm here to talk to you about the overall overarching story. That will be a glorious omnibus. And forget the X-Men title. That's my recommendation. Forget the X-Men title and read it as a story of, like a horror story. Because there's ghosts, spirits, apparitions, murder, evil going on. It's all there. Honestly, it's all there. Moida, I tell you. Don't know why I went Scottish and then Irish right at the end of this video. That's when I know it's time to get... Is it Italian adios? I do bonjour, French. It is. I hope you enjoyed that. If you followed me this far, I really do hope you enjoyed it. I suppose you're going to give me a dislike if you didn't, if you followed me for ages and ages. That's my ramblings. That is my stream of consciousness describing Peach Momoko's much more beautiful stream of consciousness for Ultimate X-Men. And until next time, I'll thank you for that. If you follow me that far, thank you if you're a sexy subscriber. If you're not, go on, do it. And until next time, I'm going to bid you all adios.